All right. And we're live. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you all for joining us. And for those of you that are new to our training here, there's a link in the chat there that you can click, and that lets you come on stage so we can hear you and see you.
Kelly,
And all.
on?
Hi, Steve.
Hello, Craig.
Welcome. Yeah, Rich. Steve has been a customer, I guess, Steve, a couple of different times, right? A couple of different businesses, I
One
think.
second.
But going way back.
Okay, we're all in.
Okay, good, good. All right, yeah, I see some other people joining here.
Yes, I have. You guys have helped us out, and I liked it. But as I said before, our business grew so fast, we didn't need salespeople.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, let's see. Mary's here from NACL. Welcome, Mary. And then I see Kelly. Not sure who Kelly's with. Maybe she's on your team, Steve. Hi, Kelly.
Yes, with Steve.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for joining. And let's see. I'm going to turn on my screen, and because we kind of have a mixed bag of folks here in terms of experience with our system and everything, you guys don't be shy about asking questions. I'm going to try to, like for Mary, I don't think you have a whole lot of, hands-on with our system so far. So I'm going to.
That's correct. Yeah, I don't. And I'm sorry for camera off. I'm eating a very late lunch.
That's okay. You didn't bring any for the rest of us, though?
I didn't, but I'll be happy to ship you some. It's a wonderful chicken casserole.
Yeah, and Steve can send us dessert. He does cotton candy and chocolate. So hey, we're set. Let's see. There's Darren. Bud just joined. Okay, so I'll kind of start off with at least a little bit of a basic intro or overview of the system, and then we can get into you guys' questions. But again, don't be shy about asking questions. The whole point of this exercise is for you to learn about the system. So definitely chime in with questions as they come up. Let's see. Somebody's getting a little feedback. Steve, I'm not. Wouldn't you? I guess it's Bud. But I muted you, just FYI, because we were getting a little feedback. Okay, and now I'll put my screen up there. You guys should be seeing my screen now. All right, so like I said, I'll just do a little bit of an overview. For anybody that's familiar with the old system, it's a very different look and feel of the system, but the same capabilities are all there. They're just a little bit moved around, I guess. So I want to just kind of cover that, and then we'll kind of move into some of the more powerful capabilities that we've added in the new system. But even in the old version, one of the main components that people always loved is that you could lay the screen out just the way you wanted, so you see what you need to see about your customers all in one place, and you're not having to jump through a whole bunch of screens to accomplish a task. And so that's still true with the new system, but we've kind of taken it up a notch. And what I mean by that is now we have what we call panels and boards. And so each of these little squares here that I can drag around, that's a panel. And overall, this arrangement of panels is a board. So I can create my board that I use when I'm a salesperson. But then I can come over here on the right and choose a different board that I use maybe when I'm doing my marketing. or when I'm doing customer service or whatever. Or of course, your different users can have those different boards individually. So you can kind of customize the way you want to see things. And so again, if you're familiar with the old system, you had the different tabs on the right for notes and documents and tasks and custom fields. Now you can get all of those on one screen all at once, right? And you can resize these and, you know, make everything fit the way you want. So you see here, the idea is if Amanda's my customer, I'm in this demo database here. The business is a solar panel installation business. So when I'm prospecting, I want to know things like, you know, is she interested in batteries? What kind of panel efficiency does she need? And things like that. But then when she becomes a customer, wait, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong tab there. You know, what type of building, when does she want to do the installation? How big's the budget? What kind of roof do we have? All of those types of things, right? Those are the kind of questions I need to ask when I'm talking to Amanda. And then when she becomes a customer, it might be slightly different things that I need to keep track of, right? And so you just organize those different fields, we call them, in layouts or panels like this. And then as you're logging calls and notes, of course, the system's, you know, keeping track of the whole history with the customer automatically. Now, to go a little bit deeper, you can connect your email account with SalesNexus. And that's what you're seeing down here. You can connect your Gmail or your Outlook. And so these are all my email threads with Amanda. So I can go into any one of them and expand it and see the email and all of that. I'm going to go back here to this one. And you can see this is one where there's a little bit of back and forth and the little reply for the ones that she sent me. So if I hit reply, it's going to actually write a reply for me automatically. Now, here's the really important thing. It's not just writing a generic reply the same way it would write a reply to any of my customers. What's actually happening is the system is looking at everything we know about Amanda and everything we know about my solar installation business and all of my other customers, but kind of preferencing or prioritizing what we specifically know about Amanda and writing an email that's personalized for her about her needs, right? And so you can see right here, it's pulling from a previous conversation I had with Amanda that she has 5 bedrooms and 3,200 square foot house, right? That just happens automatically. So anything you put in the CRM becomes, you know, sort of fodder for the AI to be smarter and better at helping you with responding to clients. Now, one of the ways that happens is with the phone, right? Like you might have meetings and type in notes. You might get documents from customers that they send over and you can attach that to their record like you see right here. But also you're having lots of phone calls, right? And so down here, I have a history of all the calls I've made or had with Amanda. You can see you can connect via to a Twilio account or a Ring Central account. And all of your conversations are recorded and transcribed automatically. So if I go here, I can play back the recording of the conversation, but I also have the whole conversation transcribed. So now you're not having to sit and type notes for 5 minutes after every call, right? SalesNexus is taking care of it for you. And it's just the same as it was as if you had typed a note. Again, Nexi, our AI, sees that and can use it in writing replies for you and so on and so forth. So let me pause there real quick. That's the main thrust of what's changed with the new version. I haven't really gotten into the email automation part of things yet, but just in terms of customer management. Anybody have any questions about that so far?
I do, Craig. When you link your email, so like my Gmail, and then I generate one through SalesNexus, or like let's say Jason links his and I'm generating one on his behalf as a response, does that automatically show up also in your sent inbox for Gmail?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes.
Okay.
So we're connecting to your account and we're grabbing the emails.
Got it.
And we're finding the contacts that match those emails and we're attaching them here like you're seeing, right? But we're not removing it from your inbox or anything. It's still in there. It's still in your inbox or your sent folder or your trash or whatever.
Okay. So one more question on that regard. If I'm responding on behalf of, let's say, Jason, will it still show in his inbox as an unread email? Like, do we risk potentially both responding by accident because he sees it from the Gmail side and I see it from the SalesNexus side?
That's a good question. Off the top of my head, I'm not totally sure. I see your point. He would definitely see that you had replied, right? Whether it's shown as read or not, I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, so let's kind of switch over to the automation part of things. So this is another area where things have changed a lot for those of you that are familiar with the old system. Before we just had, email templates and campaigns, and you go create a lookup of customers and put them on a campaign, right? Now what we've done is we've created what we call goals. And a goal is just a process, really. You can set it up as kind of a financial goal so that you can, like a sales pipeline would be the obvious example. Or it can just be some internal, or customer service type process. But let me find... trying to find the... Okay, here we go. So, I'm in the solar business. These are my customer prospects. These are the people that I'm, selling, right? And so just like you've probably seen before, it's a, drag and drop pipeline where as a salesperson, when I call Amanda here and I qualify her, I can move her to the requirements discovery stage, right? And as I'm doing that, all my reporting on sales forecasts and things like that are being updated automatically, based on the stage of the customer. You see the probabilities here, based upon what we know about the customer and where they are in the pipeline and other things. But here's the real powerful part and how it ties back to the email campaigns. At each stage, I can have automations. So just for that first stage, lead qualified, I have all these automations set up. So every time I get a new lead, all of these things are automatically happening, right? It's going to create a task to alert me, as a sales rep, you should call these people. It's going to send an email. And then, go to another stage here. I can have automations that say when it's stalled in a stage for a certain amount of time, then do something else. So in other words, a lead comes in, I get a task to call, they get an email, and then 2 days later, we have no updates from the customer. Let's trigger something else. Maybe it's a text message in this case or something like that. So let me just show you a little bit of how you set these up. I'm going to say when an opportunity is stalled in this stage, then I want to send an email or send a SMS. And here I select the template, or I can go here and create a new one. And you see there's the message. And you can mail merge these messages and so on. And then I just say right here, after 60 hours, you know, so it's been a few, what's that? 3 days. I'm going to send them a text message, right? You have a lot of other options too. You can even do, you know, really powerful things like call a webhook so that you can ping some other system, or, you know, set up a trigger that says when a contact field changes, then do something. So there's just so many capabilities here. You know, imagine you have SalesNexus connected to your payment portal where you're receiving payments from your customer on your website. So when that payment comes in and that updates a field in SalesNexus, then that automatically triggers some new step with them, including one of the triggers can be move it to a different pipeline or a different process, in other words. So you made your payment. Okay, you're no longer a prospect. Now you're a customer. I'm going to move you to my, you know, customer service platform, or maybe my delivery pipeline, right? So that's how you set up the sequencing and the automation. And then here under templates is where you actually build the emails themselves. And if you're familiar with our old version, it's very similar. Let's see, I always have trouble finding the right one that I want to show here. You know, same editor that you guys have seen before. Very easy. If I want to put a button in here, I just drag that over and there's my button, and I change the text. And I go over here and I put the link that that button should take them to. And, you know, pretty easy to design a nice looking email. And then those are the emails that get triggered by those pipelines. Or Mary, for you and Jason, what Jason generally does is he's just going to go and do a lookup and say, you know, let me look up all of my you know, current opportunities, right? And now I'm going to send them an email. So he might go here, create the email. And then what you'll do in the new SalesNexus is you'll enroll that lookup in this email, if that makes sense. Let me see. I've got to find the right kind. Yeah. So I go up here and I say, so you see now when I'm designing this email, right here, it gives me that list of lookups that I saved. And I just choose the right one. And I go over here and say send. Let's see. And there we go. Now it's getting sent. So that process, I think, will be pretty similar for the way Jason has been doing things. You guys may want to look at, you know, making some changes to the process a little bit.
Craig, that segmentation, is that contacts as well? Because it looked like they were, the segmentation was for ops.
No, sorry. That's actually, it's a good question. So when I do my lookup, when I'm building them, I go here, or actually, let me just open up the one that we were talking about. I go here to edit the one that we've already created, right? So this is just a lookup of contacts that have an open opportunity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then so you just named the lookup current ops, and so it wasn't anything to do with necessarily the opportunities. It was just a lookup of contacts that matched a criteria you had.
That's correct.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Now, while we're here, this is the cool part about this now with this new system is I can go in. Let me just create a new one so I won't mess things up. And I can let the AI build the query for me. Look up all contacts that have SalesNexus. That's the little demo domain that we've used here in the email address or whatever the criteria are, right? It might be in your database. It might be show me all contacts that are currently members, or show me all contacts that are not members, or show me all contacts that have previously placed placed an order or haven't placed an order in 60 days or whatever. And then you just say suggest conditions, and it builds the query for you. And you can come down here and save that lookup, or no, you can't unless you name it. Then I save it, and now I got a new lookup, right? Let's see. While we're talking about that and just that, I don't know what to even call that, but the way I think about it is like the system, the AI is just helping you do things in the process of doing a bigger thing. I don't know what that's called, but you can go over here while I'm on this pipeline, and Nexi is going to suggest people that probably ought to be put in the same pipeline. And, when you set these up and you really are specializing them for your business, it's amazing how dead on it is. You'll see people in this list and you'll go, oh, yeah, for sure. I should be selling to that guy, right? So I'm just going to I think it was Don I chose, actually. So I just added Don to my pipeline,
Craig, just one more time. If you go back to just the segmentation topic again, you can't do current contact, or if I'd already done a lookup behind the scenes and I wanted to send these 8 people this template that I had created, I can't have the 8 people up, go grab the template and say, send to the current lookup. Or if I wanted to send one off, I couldn't just grab the template and say, send to this one guy, Joe. Can I do that?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. A couple of things there. Once you've done the lookup, right? So I choose that lookup. Now what you'll notice is, when I go down here to the goals, sorry, no, we're talking about templates, and now I got to find that same one again. You're asking about send to a current lookup.
Yeah. So if I was already just working on contacts and I had already done some work and I said, I want to send to these people, they aren't part of a lookup, really. They aren't part of a group or a lookup. I've just been working on these. And now this active set of records I have up in front of me, that actually is my current lookup. Can I send just to them without creating the whole lookup and doing all that stuff?
Yeah. So the first step of what you're talking about is, maybe I want to kind of edit the lookup a little bit, clean it up, right? So here in the list view, I can remove these guys from the list, right? Or just, select all 8 contacts or whatever. And then I think what you have to do is save that as a lookup.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah. I'm learning with you. Yeah, so you would have to save that. You go here, save it, and then go over to templates and send it. Gosh, you made me think of something. Now I forgot what it was. Okay, anybody else have any questions right now?
Yeah, I do. So with that segmentation that you have, if I'm setting up a series of emails, for example, and I want it to send to that initial batch, but then my second one, I set it up, schedule it. Can I then exclude the ones who opened/interacted with the first email? So basically, I want only the ones who didn't interact with the first email to receive that second email, but from the same initial group.
Right. Yeah, good question. Let's try that. I'm making a note here. So let me just show you this. I'm just gonna try to do it the way you described it, Mary. Let's see. I'll just call it initial engagement. Create a ongoing series of emails to new customers, where each customer, each contact gets sent the same email every 2 days until they click on it. Something like that, just as a close example. Then I go, so now this time I'm making it what we call a marketing goal, not a sales goal. Okay. So I create that, and then again, I say AI recommend, and it's building it for me. And now it's built out these several stages here.
Okay.
Let me scroll down a little bit or move this up. There we go. That's a little better. And so it works kind of the same as a sales pipeline, except it's designed to just be messages and automations, no sort of tasks and things for people on your team. But within those, each step, same thing. You set up triggers and automation. So you can see here, send them the email, okay. Right? And then it goes to the next step and, send it again. And then when stalled for a certain amount of time, send it again, right? And then to be more specific to your case or the way you described it, you would say when the contact clicks the email, mm-hmm. then I'm going to move them to a different pipeline, right? And so what I'm doing in my system that we're using, we just have a pipeline that's kind of the holding place for anybody that we're not currently engaged in any way, right? So for you, like it might be, current members or something like that, right? And so what this will do is when they click that email, they get moved out of this process and into that sort of holding queue, right? And like in your case, where I think you'll want to go is you're going to have a membership updates pipeline or something like that, right? And that'll just be where everybody goes once they're not going through like a new member sequence or some other sequence, right? And then when urgent things come up and Jason creates an email on a weekend or something like that, all he has to do is take that list of people and go to that current members goal, and you just go here and enroll contacts, and you just take those people and add them into that campaign, right? And there's some neat, for those of you who are familiar with the old system, there's some neat tools now that you have that are kind of new where I can go in and say, show me everybody that's in this stage that has stalled, or, other sort of admin tools. Let's see. Let's touch on the forms a little bit real quick, because that's important too. That's an important part of how you're going to get the contacts into the system. So you go to forms, and here you have a couple of different options. You can build a form in SalesNexus. I got to rename these because I always get confused which one's which. Bear with me a second, guys. I got to find the right one. Here we go. So in SalesNexus, I can build my form using that same editor that we use for the emails. It just has this extra element where I can drag over my form. And then once I'm building the form down here, I can add any of my new fields, or I'm sorry, my custom fields to that form. And then once you're done, you save it and you go here to publish, and it gives you this little JavaScript. You just copy it and you go to your website and you put that, you paste that code into that web page that you want the form to appear on. And now you got your form, and every time somebody fills it out, they go straight into SalesNexus. And then, so that's one way to do it. If you don't already have a film or form, you build it in SalesNexus, and then you paste it into your website. This one is one where maybe you already have a form on your site, and you just want to be able to capture the data from that existing form into SalesNexus, right? So you just go here, you set it up, and just give it a name, basically, is all you're doing. And then you go to the next step and you get this embed code, which looks very similar. Copy that code. Again, you go to that existing web page where you have the form already. Excuse me. Excuse me. You paste this code into that existing page. Then in that case, what you're going to do is you would go to the form on your site, so wherever you have like in our case, we got this sign up for a demo form, right? And you would just submit it one time with some test data, right? Some dummy data. And then you come back to SalesNexus, and you're going to go here to view submissions. and it's going to show you the data that came in from that form, right? And then you go here to field mapping, and it lets you sit and go, okay, here's where I'm going to put that piece of data, and here's where I'm going to put that piece of data. And you're doing the mapping of your existing form into the SalesNexus fields, and you save that, and that's it. Now, every time somebody fills out that form, all that data they provide you with goes right into the right fields. And then those guys can be added to one of your pipelines, right? Anybody have any questions about that piece?
I do. Sorry.
No, that's good.
So on the form, is there a way, and I may have missed it as you were walking through it, but is there a way to do the like, yes, I'm a human, I'm not a bot type thing?
Oh, like a CAPTCHA thing.
Yes, thank you. I could not remember the word.
Yeah, that's a good question. And no, we don't have that today, but it's a really good idea. And probably not rocket science at all. So I'm going to put that on the list. So if you really needed that today, you'd have to build the form on your site yourself and then just connect to it the way we just did, connecting to the existing form.
Thank you.
Sure. Or maybe I'm wrong. Heck, who knows? Let's see. Let's go make sure. Yeah, I'll just have to put that on the list. Those guys are going so fast now that a lot of times there's, like, I'll go back after a meeting like this, a lot of great ideas from you guys, and I'll go ask Caleb, and he'll go, oh yeah, that's already in there. You just have to go to the so-and-so and there's the button, you know? One thing I didn't mention earlier, but it's true for forms and emails. Right here in the editor, you can do the mobile view like this. You definitely want to do that because it doesn't matter what kind of business you are in, for sure, at least half of the visits you're getting to your website are coming from a mobile device. So you want to make sure it's going to look good and not. Sometimes when you're, especially when you're putting images in and other things like that, videos on mobile, it'll throw off the formatting and make it look a little weird. So you just want to double check that.
Hey, Greg, this is form that would be on your website.
Steve, I'm having a little trouble hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, sir. Now I got you.
I forgot my question. That's for your website. You could, if you had permission, put it on other portals that you use to attract businesses. I mean, have you seen that being done?
Oh yeah, no, it's a great point. You know, like you have some partnership with somebody else that's sending you leads or customers or whatever, right?
Yes.
So the only issue is they need to be willing to paste your little JavaScript into their page, right? You know, like I'm trying to think of an example, but I've seen some businesses where they have a lot of distributors, and every distributor sort of has their own little personal landing page on their site, right? And so if you, as the distributor, can get them to paste that JavaScript into that form, then you're good to go. Let's see. The alternative would be we can use our API to just, you know, connect things or Zapier. Sometimes that's a different option. Is there a specific app or site that you're
Well,
thinking of?
we have it's Fair, FAIRE, which is a wholesale website that we have success on, but I believe you can connect directly with Fair, and all the customers would come over to our contact list, right? Or you could
Right.
get
Yeah,
that built.
that's the idea, and certainly I can research them a little more later to double check. But yeah, I probably should have started here, but the impetus for us rebuilding the whole system the way we have over the last 8 months or so is it really started with two things. One was making the user interface a little more modern and easy to work around in, but also the API, to make connecting with other systems a lot easier. And so now it just already, we're only 2 or 3 months into rolling this out and people really using it. And that's always been a thing. People are always asking, well, can I connect to this and can I connect to that? Right now, it's just so much easier. It takes a couple hours instead of sometimes a couple of weeks or even longer. So I'm sure there's a way, one way or the other.
Do you have people using QuickBooks with this, QuickBooks Online?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. And that's on so there's two options that you have today. Well, sorry, there's two options. One of them is active today. You can use Zapier to connect with QuickBooks. That we can do today. That's always how we've done it in the past with the old version. It works fine. It's the only downside is you're paying a little bit of transaction cost with the Zapier platform. But since it's QuickBooks, you're probably not talking about hundreds of transactions every day. So it's probably not going to be outrageously expensive. What we're working on now and expect to be delivering by the summer is a direct connection. So you just go into SalesNexus and just like here, when I'm connecting to Ring Central or Twilio, I just, it pulls up the authorization screen right here in SalesNexus. I put in my Ring Central credentials and it connects the two. It'll be the same thing with QuickBooks.
Okay. Thanks.
Sure.
I have a question on like the database. So can you show me like a company, and we need to know, this is the company, here's all the contact information. They do this, they pay this amount. These are all the attachments related to them, all of that.
Right. Yep. So here's the company's view. And, the idea there is this is a company within which there are multiple contacts, right? And so you can customize this, and just like you're seeing here, have panels and all that, just the same way you do in the contact screen. So that's really, each customer, you'll have to determine which information do I want to manage at the company level and which information do I want to manage at the contact level, right? But either way, you go in here and you can, customize this layout and create additional fields to appear here, right? So it might be billing address, credit terms, preferred method of payment, all of that kind of stuff. And then you got your contacts over here, and then you drill down to the, I can get a quick view of Amanda and just, click and dial the phone or send her an email or whatever, or I can click here and go to Amanda's contact. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. And then my question is regarding contacts. So let's say I meet someone and I want to email them and just introduce myself, whatnot. Do I have to add them as a contact in SalesNexus? And if I email them in Outlook, is it automatically going to flow over into their contact in SalesNexus? Or do I have to email them through SalesNexus?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So there's a lot there. Let me be careful to not confuse everyone here. So first of all, in that case, if you just went to Outlook and sent them an email and never went to SalesNexus to put them in as a contact first, then the system's just going to send them an email in Outlook and that's it. They're not in SalesNexus at all, because that's how our email archival works. Is we're going to look at all of your emails, but only the ones that match a contact that already is in the CRM get added to that contact, if that makes sense. So the way you describe the workflow would be the correct way to do it. You would go to SalesNexus, put in the contact, right? And then you can send them an email through SalesNexus, or you can send them an email through Outlook. And either way, it's going to get attached in SalesNexus.
And so every time I email this person, regardless of what it's about, it will flow into SalesNexus.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say we have a long conversation about random things. Every single one of those emails will flow in there.
Yes, ma'am.
And so SalesNexus is essentially scrubbing all of our emails, like 100% of our emails, to find emails that match contacts in our database.
That's right.
And so SalesNexus is there like security measures in place to make sure that they're not, looking at any additional emails or anything like that?
Yeah. So again, what our service does that's getting the emails is it just checks for a matching contact. And if we don't find one, we just throw it away. We're done with it. It stays in your Outlook and everything, but otherwise we are done with it. If we do find the contact, then we're assuming that's an important customer or something, right? And then we attach it to that contact's record. But you have some controls from a security point of view. One is you can set it up so that there are certain contacts that only you can see in SalesNexus. And then separately, you can also set it up so that let me try to show you an example of this here. At the contact level, some users are not allowed to view those emails at all. So you can turn that off. I can deny email viewing for certain users, right? So you can control which contacts I, as a user, can see, and then you can control whether or not I can see the email history, and you can also control which fields I can see individually. So you have a lot of controls over who sees what.
But you can't go into you can't go into a specific one and say this one's a private email between me and Bob, and I'm the only one that can see that, and everybody can see everything else. I can't tag a specific one.
That's correct. That's correct. What you can do is you can turn off the email capture service for a contact. So if the example that everybody brings up all the time is your lawyer, right? Or your wife or your spouse. You can just go in there and turn it off for them. There's a little checkbox. And that way we don't count that as a contact in your database when we're trying to find matching contacts to the emails.
Okay. And we also have shared mailboxes. So like our shipping, accounting, info, orders, sales, all of that. So can that all be fully integrated in here as well? How does that work with a shared mailbox?
Yeah, that's a good question too. Let me show you a couple of things. First of all, when you're connecting your email accounts, each email account needs to be attached to SalesNexus, right? But you can attach multiples. Like you see here, I'm attached to an Outlook and a Gmail account, right? So in your case, it might be, you would have, your own email, and then you'd have, sales at, and then you'd have info at and billing at or shipping at, and all the different emails that you have, right? And they're all attached here. And that means that's just another mailbox that our service is checking every few minutes. So that's how we do the archival part. But then when you're sending an email, kind of back to what you were talking about a few minutes ago, one thing I wanted to show you is, in addition to the way that the system was writing a reply to your emails, like you talked about, you just met somebody, right? What's actually happening when I create a contact is, based on their email address and any other information that you put into the system about them, the company name, their website, whatever, Nexi is actually kind of building a profile of that customer. I picked a bad one as an example, but if this was a real person that had real social media profiles, it would be building a profile of her. And so when I go up here and say, send Brenda an email, it'll write an email for me based on what it sees on the public internet about Brenda, right? But to get back to your question, here you can choose any of those accounts, those email accounts that you've connected, to be your from address. So for Brenda right now, I want it to come from my billing at mycompany.com, right? And I write my email and I hit send. For when I go to the next contact and I want to send her an email, this time I'm going to send it from my sales at mycompany.com email, right? So basically, when you're setting the system up, you'll connect all these email accounts, and then you can send from any of those. And that's
how
true.
does that email look when it's received? Does it look just like a traditional email from Outlook or Gmail, or does it have powered by SalesNexus at the bottom? What
that's a good
what does
question.
the email look like when the receiver gets it?
So in this case, we're sending from we're really, it's going to look exactly like you just sent it in Gmail, right? If you're sending a design template like we looked at earlier, that's going to have the unsubscribe link at the bottom and all of that.
Okay. And then one more question is, you said that the call transcript was linked with like Twilio. Is it linked with Microsoft Teams at all?
Not yet, but that's coming.
Okay.
That's a big next step, is integrating with Zoom and Google Meet and Teams and all those guys. And for everybody, like I mentioned earlier, the guys are really going fast with adding to the system, and so we definitely want to hear your feedback. If you're running into, like Bud brought up a really important workflow of sort of sending to a list that you've sort of curated, like we call it sending to a current lookup in our old system. I'll add that to the guys' lists, and I wouldn't be surprised if before April that's already out there in the real world. So don't be shy about giving us ideas, telling us about any problems that you run into or frustrations or things that could be improved. We definitely want to hear it, and the timeline to see that stuff addressed is very short.
Craig, could I ask another Mary question if I could, just for a minute, because I was piggybacking off of what she was asking a minute ago. So she meets somebody, she wants to send them an email, she can add them to SalesNexus, and then that begins the linking because that person is now in there. Or she can send them outside and go outside into Outlook or something, and then that's not connected, and that won't be part of SalesNexus. If she adds somebody to SalesNexus, does the linking begin from that moment forward? If she has other things in her outbox and inbox from that particular person, does it go back in time and also link any of that stuff, or is it only from the creation date of the contact in SalesNexus forward?
That is a great question that I do not know the answer to definitively. Let me make myself a note because I'm going to go find out. That's a really important question.
See, that was a great question by Mary, and
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Mary.
But let me tell you this, because it's kind of related. What I do know is that today, if you start up your SalesNexus account and you upload all of your contacts, then after that, you connect your Outlook account, right? When we connect to your Outlook account, we are going back in history and grabbing all of your past emails with those people that you added as contacts. So it is doing that in the beginning on a mass basis, if that makes sense. But what I don't know is
you can't resync, like you were talking about resyncing while you have both things active. You can't go back and resync and actually do that.
Yeah, there's a sync button here, but what I don't know is when you add an individual contact, if it's also going back into history in that case. I know it does when you're first connecting the account, but I don't know if that keeps happening over and over again. That's the question. So I have to check on that, but it's a really good question because I'm going to use that. That's handy.
I guess to add on to that, Craig, if it does that, or if, I guess, two-part, when you add that initial email, how far back is it looking? 6 months of your email, a year, and then same thing for what you're looking up as far as like the resyncing, if we will. Like, again, if I add a new contact, then how far back could that look if that is true? So
yeah.
I'd be curious to know those parts as well.
I'm pretty sure it goes back it'll get every email that still exists in your email account.
Okay.
But I'll confirm that too.
And that's true of the inbox. In other words, if you archive things out of the inbox into an archive folder, it may not get those then, right?
Yeah, but I don't. I don't think that's an issue.
Okay.
I think it's not concerned about where it's located as long as it's still on the mail server, Let's see. What other questions do you guys have? One thing I didn't show you, I don't think, is the dashboards. But again, for those of you who are not or are familiar with the old system, it was a little cumbersome setting those up. But now you just go here and you tell Nexi what kind of dashboard you want to have, and it just gens it up for you. It's so much easier. And you have also that kind of boards concept where you can choose what you want to see and then kind of switch views. I got my sales management dashboard and then I got my marketing dashboard. So for those of you that are already in the new system, definitely try that out. It's pretty amazing. What else? Any other questions? No? Okay.
Quick question. I'm sorry, everybody, but you did show me once that you have a tool that goes out and searches LinkedIn. And so for people that are prospecting to add new contacts, could you show that real quick?
Well, so there's two answers to that. So I just want to be clear for everybody. One is within the application, it will enrich a contact for you. So like when I add Brenda here and just put in her email, it will automatically go and find more information about Brenda and get her, like if I don't have her phone number and stuff like that, it'll get her phone number, tell me what company she works for and what her title is. That's what we call enrichment. That's built into the system. But let me be clear for everybody. It's built into the old system. It is not yet released in the new system, but it will be by the end of this month. They're working on it now. So that's coming, where you'll just, hit a button here and it'll find Brenda's company and title and phone numbers and mailing address and stuff, right? And her social profile links. But separately, we do offer what we call the B2B contact database, where I can go in and do a search for customers, leads, based on their title, or, like in your case, Steve, it might be, I want to have people that are at the VP or manager level, and they've got purchasing in their title, and maybe they're in some kind of, I don't know if it's food and beverage retail, might be a place to start anyway. So I do that search, and there's the contacts it came back with, right? And for all of them, I'm getting their email and their phone number and their LinkedIn profiles and all of that. So we would need to play with the criteria here to get you the right list, but that's collecting or sourcing new leads. That's a separate platform from the SalesNexus CRM. There's a separate cost for that, but that is available. I'll just show you that real quick for everybody's benefit. So there you go. There's the pricing that you're looking at. 50 cents per contact or less, depending on volume and whether it's a one-time purchase or a subscription and things like that.
Excellent. Thanks.
Sure. Yeah, we have some other things that we're going to be building into the platform that are related to this. But I don't want to, we don't have it really spec'd out just yet, but the idea is that Nexi will learn who you sell to and start finding people on the internet and recommending them to you as prospects, so that's going to be really fun. Okay, well, guys, thank you very much. Appreciate everybody's time and great questions. Thank you. And you'll get an email with a recording later on. And of course, if there's anything at all that we can help with, just reach out to me. Happy to help.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Craig.
Bye-bye.